Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be where you are. Welcome back to the live stream. My name is Jeff Fritz. Today is July 25th, 2019, and we're going to write a little bit of code today. How's it going there, chat room? Oh my goodness. Look who's here. Sean's here. Hello, hello. Ancient Coder, Gareth, Smab, good to see you. Stelzy, Musical Bookworm, Jason Bach. Yo, good to see you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Rain for John Calloway. Oh no, and C17, greetings, good to see you. I've got an ambitious stream here today, and I hope you join me. I'm going to be lighting up live share. That's why I'm wearing my live share hat today. I want to turn it on read-only mode and let you dial in if you want to be able to connect in and work with, explore some of the examples as we walk through it, so I can get your feedback as we move a little bit closer to completion in this resource management project. And we're going to do something that I don't think I've read anywhere else. I want to convert this application from server-side Blazor components to client-side Blazor components. Let's figure out what's going on there, see if we can make that happen quickly and easily, and then get back and finish that grid view, wire up some of the security that's available now with client-side Blazor, and make this available. Let's get through this. Hey, Frackberg. Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Let me get some music playing here in the background. Oh, yes. Big End Then's coming out now. And we found a solution for our entity framework problem. Let me get some music playing. Yeah, there it is. Let's start with, gosh. I'm going to play, this is Purple. Starts off a little bit quiet, but it'll ramp up. There we go. Hey, Lil Cold, good to see you. There it comes. Frackberg got GPG set up on his YubiKey last night. Really nice. You know what? I still didn't pick up a YubiKey. I've been hanging out there saying I need to do this, and I just haven't pulled the trigger. I got to make that happen. There we go. This is Music to Code by our friend, Mr. Carl Franklin. It's scientifically engineered. It's designed to get you in the groove, to get you focused on whatever the task might be, whether it's coding, doing homework, chores around the house. Check it out, mtcb.pwop.com. Thanks so much, Carl, for letting us listen to your music. And we're gonna be productive here today. We're gonna get some stuff done. So, when last we spoke, first off, I had a problem with the camera here. It's still, look at it, I've got a terrible refresh rate. Look at that. I've got the new camera set up. It works. It's great. I just need to install it here in my office, and we'll be ready to go. Let's head over to the full screen view here. Thank you. That's the first time I've seen OBS drag like that. Oh my goodness. All right. I figured out what the problem was with Entity Framework, and big thanks to Cryptic Enigma 00 for pointing out you needed to update the Entity Framework tools. So I couldn't, even though I had it listed in my project, I had to force the global tool to be updated. So we ran a .NET uninstall on the global Entity Framework tools, and then went and reinstalled. Yeah, I ended. The current version, the Preview 7 version of the Entity Framework tools, and now they work. Now I can actually use it.
And then?
Yeah, the scary unicorn console, absolutely. So, that's working. There was also a little bit of feedback saying, hey, you know what? There's a version of the NPG SQL library that's available on their MyGet service that we can check out and use. I'm feeling pretty good about, you know what? It's not a bad idea to go and grab their version, because I don't like being stuck, left behind because of changes in the frameworks that I'm dependent on, you know? Hey, JAF1021 is here. Good morning. So great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Maker Blaker, good to see you. So I was going to try and grab yeah, there we go. The latest version out here. It's on their MyGet server. And where is it? Stable 224, unstable says 3.0 right here. There we go. So I can install this latest unstable version and give it a try. And it's not too bad, right? I mean, I would need to add a reference to their MyGet repository and include it. I mean, we can do that. So let me do that. I'm going to grab the .NET add package reference here and head back over here. So I'm going to use the latest version of this. So, I mean, let's just take a quick peek at what this command does, right? .NET add package. This is going to add a reference to the Postgres database package that we were referencing in our project. We're going to grab this specific version, and our source is this MyGet server, right? MyGet's a private server that folks use so that they can develop and build before releasing something to the public. So, did I get the latest Visual Studio after it released yesterday? Yes, I did. And there is a rimshot command, I believe, right? Yeah, there you go. You can do a rimshot command there, C17, if you'd like. If the EF Global Tools came along, I installed it on my own. I forced the install to be done. So there we go. That's installed and now available. Douglas Correa, thanks so much for the follow. That's going to help us reach our 8,000 follower goal. If we get to 8,000 followers before September 15th, I will dye my beard rainbow for both .NET Conf and TwitchCon. Oh, yes. Wait, I didn't hear it. It didn't say it. What mischief indeed, Svava. Well. Let me tell you what mischief we have planned today.
Are these really the questions that I was called here to answer?
Yes, you were really called here to answer the question of what mischief, Jack. Okay? We're gonna start doing this conversion here in just a little bit. Hey, Tim Van Monero, good to see you. Winder Kata, is that a live share hat? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's another one of my custom hats. I've gone to the local embroidery shop here and taken some logos, and they stitched them on hats for me. So, Stelzy asks, does NuGet add this package feed URL generally to the package sources or only for this project? Good question. So check this out. If I remember correctly, it writes... No, I don't see it here. I thought it wrote a NuGet config here, and I don't see it there. Let's take a look at the project properties here. So this is that user secrets. I'm sorry. This is that project file. I was looking at the user secrets here, reading that. Here's the package reference include, and it's clearly referencing that other location. You know what? I don't see the NuGet config here anywhere. Huh. Where's it pulling that from? You know, that's kind of curious. I thought there was a NuGet config that it wrote. Nope, it's not in that list. I mean, right, it's going to try and force me into the published version that is -preview 5, which is not it because -p is after -c, so, ugh. Okay, whatever. Hey, Copper Beardy, good to see you. Thank you for the host, Fairy Wings. Might it be in the solution directory? Let's take a look up one. Nope, don't see it there either. I wonder where they're hiding it. Let's take a look in the... I can't imagine it's in the obj folder. Did they write it in project assets, Jason? No. Fairy Wings.
Have you looked in the thingy?
It's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I'm gonna go look in the thingy.
Well, do your best.
I will do my best. Thank you, Fairy Wings, for that very kind cheer. And we'll make another donation to Coder Dojo, like we are with all of our cheers, all of our subs this quarter. It can't be in the right. Let's take a look. Where did they write it? Let's go back up one here. So there, normally you have a NuGet.config file that has a list of here's the places to search for packages. Right, and this is the file we started writing for SQLite yesterday. I'm not going to need that. It's not in the app settings JSON. And it wasn't in the csproj file. So, right, it wasn't over here. I don't see a NuGet config reference. So, if it's in the obj folder, right, and we're looking at places where it's written references for the application. This is project assets JSON. And this is where it's telling it, well, here's where the actual DLLs are for some of these things. If I look for NPG, right, there's 407. That's an older version. Right, there's the preview version right there. Right, there's the CI. Yeah, I don't see anything that says, well, here, go get it from, well, there's the SHA. I don't see anything that has the myGet reference. No. Right, so that strikes me as kind of weird. How does it know where to pull it from? Right, it wrote this cache file. I'm not going to look at that. I should be able to look in the JSON file. Nope, no myGet reference in there. I don't know where they put it. I mean, it's got to be around, but it's clearly not. Ecomath asks, did I track down the bug we had yesterday? Yes. Yes, we did. We uninstalled the Entity Framework tools and reinstalled them. So it should be able to find it now. Yeah, I do wonder if it's now resolvable on other systems. Right? Because right, I clearly installed and said, bring it in from a different source here. Right, so there it tried to get it from API NuGet. Here is where it goes to the other source. Right? And it's okay, it brings it in from that location. Installing it. Compatible, that's confirmed. Package reference updated in file in the csproj. That's it, that's all it says. I wonder if it doesn't keep that myGet reference around. You know? It's gotta be. Right, so if I .NET restore, let's .NET restore force. Be a little verbose here, huh? Huh? Detailed. That's a little bit much. Info. I thought there was an info. I don't want to do well, alright, let's try diagnostic. See what it... that's too much also. That's way too much. Dear Lord. Are you kidding? No. I think the debug was the level that we wanted. And let me just put that into a text file so we can take a look at it. See if it actually goes to the myget location. No, it didn't look at myget. Right. There it's looking at NuGet.org. It doesn't look for myget at all. So it doesn't store that reference to myget. When the size of your build log is larger than the binary assets generated. Well, you know. Right? Alright. So now if I go back over to... and we're going to keep that running. Right? There we go. So I should now be able to rebuild this. I want to change my startup back so it's using Postgres again. Come on. Come on! You know... And I think the gauge over there is a couple off. Hey, Hugo. Good to see you. It's taking its good old time building here. Rebuild all succeeded. Fantastic. Let me go back into startup and change these back from SQLite to Postgres. Right, use npg-sql. And, right, the connection string is, configuration, get connection string, and I forget what I called it. The connection string is just db, okay. Hello. Paste that right back in there. Good. Good. All right. So I should be able to continue using the Postgres database that I had been working with here. All right. I don't want to force a no cache on that restore, just because it'll mess things up a little bit. It'll force too much of the issue. There we go. Now the gauge is correct. All right. So let's also just double check that my Postgres database is running. No. Did I remove it? Oh, you know what? I rebooted my machine. Docker start, the resource management, and that'll restart my database. There it is. So now I should be able to run this, and we should see... Are you kidding? Where's that parenthesis? And we should see the application properly connecting to the database and allowing me to interact with this. Hugo says, looks like I'm moving forward with Preview 7 and the private dev build of the Postgres provider. Yes. Yeah. SQLite, I think, was a little bit of a... too much of a consolation. Too much of a... Right, I didn't want to settle for that. Restore pages? No. Oh! And now I feel sad. So I grabbed the preview version from over here, and it does not work. Is there a newer version of this here that we should be grabbing? Yeah. 2 minutes ago. 2 minutes ago? That's not the version that I had. 2019 07 25 11. Right, where'd it go? 0725.11. Yeah, they're actively working on this. Oh, that's interesting, with Node at time. Gosh, I'm gonna need to... Seems reasonable, want to make sure I get the layout of the proverbial land right. Yeah. I'm kind of disappointed that we've got this disconnect and I'm not going to be able to... It's just not working. It's not connecting and interacting. Oh, one of the Postgres people is watching me failing. Yeah, is that what's going on over there? Oh my gosh.
Shut up!
No, kidding. Totally kidding. Hey, Zach. Just wanted to say you learn a lot more from me. Oh my gosh, thank you, Zach. That is very kind to say you learned so much from me. I appreciate that. And stick around. We're going to have a good time here writing some code together. Let's see there. So this is kind of one of the dangers of using preview stuff, right? Things aren't fully supported yet. Folks are working to keep up. Clearly, looking here at the Entity Framework Core reference that I'm trying to use here, the folks are literally working on this right now with a build just a few minutes ago. I'm not gonna continue pushing on that then, and I'm going to I'll leave the reference here, but I'm gonna roll back to using SQLite just so we can continue moving, I guess. I'm disappointed by that, but you got to do what you got to do, you know what I mean? So let's just duplicate this line. Why did that duplicate? And I'm going to comment that out. Karnak, I thought you were working here. Is that Gibran Kalia? Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. There's Karnak. But it's not actually showing anything. Do I need to restart you, Karnak? Not Discord. Karnak. So Karnak is what I use to show you the hotkeys that I'm keying in on screen. There they are. All right. So I'm going to change this from, instead of use npg-sql, that's the database reference, we're going to just use SQLite because it's a little database file that we can reference and it will be just right here in the file. In fact, I could just roll this back, couldn't I? That's okay. It's a data source equals, and I'll call this, I'm just going to call this db.db because that's just dumb enough that it'll work. And I'm going to copy that, paste it in right here, comment that one out. And that should do it. Yeah, all right. You'd rather watch me try on stream and learn from it. Yeah, we learned that something didn't work. What can I tell you? All right, so let me go back over to this, make sure everything builds properly. Build succeeded, it's telling me, so I should be able... First off, I deleted all my migrations the other day, so I'm going to rebuild those migrations. .NET EF migrations, add a new database, I'll call this. Whatever. Oh. Got to be in the right project folder, right? There it is. Now we'll do it. And actually, I think we lost the migration for the identity provider as well, because I wiped the migrations over on that side. Yeah. I'm nearly positive I'm going to need to rebuild that one as well. Rats. Yeah, look at that. So let's start with my DB context. I forget what's in application DB context. What's in this one? Oh, this is the identity. And there's identity DB context over here. Why do I have two of these? Is this referenced anywhere? Two references. Oh, no, it's just right here. Well, can I get rid of this file then? I think I can. Let's see, did that finish? No. Why is it still trying to use the Postgres version? That's weird. Let me go back to the startup. Right, I got rid of the Postgres versions of things. So why is it trying to connect to that database? You know what I mean? Both are using SQLite. NPG SQL is out of here. I mean, let's remove that entirely and let's do a hard rebuild. So, smart man learns from his mistakes and does not repeat them. A wise man finds a smart man and learns from his mistakes to never make them himself. Oh, thank you, Codeman Codes. Here we go. Well, gosh, there it is. Well, that explains a little bit, doesn't it? This isn't being referenced anywhere, but oh, it's the factory that it uses. All right. Let's that feels really weird that I have to have it here as well. Okay. No, that's not the right one. Use SQLite. Data source. And I don't like having this data source reference all over the place. Just kind of managing itself. Wherever you go, there you are. Such wise words. Oh my goodness. Alright, so let's rebuild. Let's see what this looks like. Build succeeded. So I should be able to, over here, regenerate my migrations.
The Simeon just resubscribed for 4 months.
Yeah, thank you, the Simeon. I appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. There we go. So now I've got it for my DB context. I also need it for the application. So I sit better. Oh, I called it the same thing. Add new database. Let's see what happens. Okay. Looks like it did something. But I don't see... Right, I don't see anything here. Well, there's migrations over here. Application DB. There's that one for application DB. Here's this one for that. So I feel like this one can be deleted. Right, I'm seeing some things move around here. I don't think I need this one. Right? Let me just try commenting it out just to make sure that it doesn't blow up in my face anywhere. Did they fix EF for the new preview? So what I did, the Simian, was I uninstalled the global tool and I reinstalled it, and it appears to be working this time. And I'm using just SQLite. Hugo says, the use SQLite or appropriate provider everywhere. Wouldn't it be easier to create your own extension method so you control it from a single place? I completely agree. That's a great idea. Let's do that real quick here as a good coding practice. I'm going to, we have extension methods here to allow us to extend a couple things. Let's add an extension method here that will do that. Options use SQLite. So options is a DB context options builder. DB context options builder. Okay. So public static, I don't know what it is. Let's call this use my database. This, okay, what was it? DB context options builder. Options. I need the configuration also. No, it's that config. Yeah, I think I also need one of these, so I can actually grab the database connection string, pass it in so that I don't specify it everywhere here. But for this one, I guess I'm all right? Data source equals db. So I sound like Twiggy from Buck Rogers. db. And this one I'll allow string connection string. Wow, GWDT. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. I don't need this one just yet here. And I feel like I think it's all right. You know what? I don't need this at all, do I? What am I supposed to return from use SQLite? It's another DB context options builder. All right. So I'm going to return options and return this. So now I love this idea because I can say use my database. And now I can just change my database in one place and it always works. That feels really good. Right, so now I don't need this hanging out here anywhere. And I'll go over to, where was it? Was it up here? No. It was in the, here it was, options builder use SQLite. Use my database. And I don't have configuration here. So let's make that optional. And now it works. Fantastic. All right. This is really exciting. I really want to use SQLite now. Simple as heck. Yes. Yes, it is. Watching the live share cap, it's the 1323 in the list of Fritz. We're going to open this up in just a second here. Let me get this building, and I'm going to set up the live share. Why is the DB source hardcode instead of being in the settings file? Yeah, I can move it over there. That's fine. What? Drop the thing there. So let me, yeah, sure, I'll put it in app settings JSON. Right. I'm going to call this the SQLite DB. Really? Like that. Space. That's fine. That's too much. Okay. So now I can say use SQLite config get connection string SQLite DB. So now it's getting it appropriately from over there. The problem is inside, not that one. Here, right? When it does the factory, right, which it uses for that .NET EF database update, I need to pass in the configuration here so it knows where to pull it from. Which, I mean, I could pull out of the arguments here, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to need a null check on that. You're right. Is there a performance difference in what? Yeah, there'll be a performance difference certainly between SQLite and Postgres as we get beyond just one or two users. Yes. Because it's a website. And in the website, you're going to run into issues where you're going to have multiple people trying to access the same database at the same time. So when you're writing, you're going to end up locking that one file. So you'll end up locking and blocking a lot more than you might expect. See, I don't have I configuration when this runs. So that doesn't know what to do. So here's where I think I need, right? I need that string for the connection string. Right, now I could pass that in here, right? I could pass in whatever connection string. I'm going to hard code it here because I know what it is, but I don't know how I get the configuration and pass it over here. You can't inject the configuration object into this class. Can you? Electric Havoc.
Electric Havoc just resubscribed for 6 months. Wow, 6 months already. Zoom zoom. Morphin time.
Thanks so much for the thank you very much for the sub. We'll make another donation. Yeah, all right, let me try and inject the configuration. I didn't think you could, right? Right, create and initialize field. Right, can I pass it there like this? I think you needed a parameterless constructor for this. DB looks like a guy with glasses wearing headphones. A little bit. There we go. So let's do that. Let's just call this test and see what happens. So, a one-file database solution gets really messy fast when you have more than one thread solution access. Oh, okay, that looks like it worked. And it actually created the migration, it looks like. Yeah. What did it... And it didn't do anything, but it created it. So I'm going to get rid of that just so I don't have this extra one laying around. And we'll update the database and get it running. Many readers, one writer. Yeah, but when that one writer comes through, because it's one file, it locks all database tables. It locks that entire thing and prevents access. So, A guy with glasses wearing headphones. Let me put on my Gunners. Hang on. Do you wear Gunners? Anybody out there wear Gunners? So. Oh, look at that. The model must be finalized before get type mapping can be used. Ensure that either on model creating has completed or model binder, blah, blah, blah. Wow. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. I'm not quite sure what to think about this. Yeah, Gunners. These are computer glasses. They block the blue, make it a little bit easier to see and relax your eyes a little bit. So, Gunners, Gunnar. There you go. See that? Do a little bit of the blue light blocking glasses. Yeah. I don't typically wear them. Maybe at night sometimes I wear them, but nah, they're pretty good. Hey, IL4Y, nice to be back. You often see private variable declarations with an underscore instead of private data context. Is there a right or a wrong? No. There isn't a right or wrong. It's sometimes a practice so that when you look at the list of things in your when you look at the list of references in IntelliSense, they all appear up at the top as fields, as private fields. And it just keeps them all together so that you know those are private and they're groups them together. So there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just a naming standard that's been around since Hungarian notation. This is weird. I don't understand why that .NET EF migrations remove, right? Because it told me here, use EF migrations remove to get rid of it, to undo the action. I mean, if I drop the context, it should come back and say more than one context. I don't know what you're referencing. So, yeah, the default naming suggestions that Visual Studio will throw at you are pretty good. Yeah, see that? More than one DB context found. So if I try and tell it remove specifically for that one, it blows up. We've prefixed private backing variables with underscores because it's ugly and you should only see it within the property accessors. Yeah, you shouldn't see that outside of it. Now that time it worked. I'm not going to question it. It just worked. Let's update the database. Okay, let's start with application DB context. And then I'll apply the my DB context. Watch Me Code is now hosting us. Thanks for the host. I appreciate the host. Thanks so much. So this should update and write my database. There we go. And you can see there's DB here, and I'll do it again for my DB context that has all of my domain-specific objects in it. And then we should be able to run the application again. You can specify every conceivable naming convention in editor config. Yeah, and then we'll do this. Here we go. No parameterless constructor defined for... Yeah. See that? Right, so it doesn't know how to get it. So how do we pass in the configuration? How does the other one do it? The application DB context, because that worked. DB context options, base options. Right, and there was no factory for this one. So, how'd that work and this one didn't? Right, and these are all just here in this file. 39. Well, wait, that's not. Those two are in startup. Add DB context, add entity framework stores. Right, that's for the identity. Add DB context, use my database. So do I really need the factory there for my DB? I thought I did, right? It's got one reference. Where's this referenced? It's just a constructor. I shouldn't need this. You know? It should pick up and run with the other one. Floop? What floop? Let's see if that works. Come on. There, that one worked. So I don't need this here. Fine, get rid of that. I don't want it. All right, so my database is updated. I should be able to run this now. Before I run it, let's set up live share, sign in with GitHub. Ready to collaborate. Stay on target. Stay on target. Make it read only. If you're using Visual Studio Code or you're using full Visual Studio 2017 or 2019 and you have live share installed, go ahead and click that link and you can join me here inside of live share. And we're going to run this application, and then we're going to work through getting it converted over to Blazor client side.
And then?
Yes, and then. Many and thens. Absolutely.
And then?
We're going to get it converted to Blazor client side.
And then?
We're going to use the new security model to enforce security between our different pages here. We'll set up a claim so that managers can be logged in and only access the manager page.
And then?
At some point, we'll need to set up a assign managers page. Maybe that's something we can just do to start with inside of a configuration file. This user ID is a manager, right? Have just an array of managers defined, or a CSV, something like that. David Kalon, what do you mean WTF? You love the sound effects. All the and thens, exclamation point, and then, and you can trigger and then from the, see that? From the chat room. We'll have a little bit more of a security thing here that we can go through and use. So let's run this and see if we can get, look at this, here comes some folks joining the session.
And then?
Yeah, right? We'll run it, and those of you that are connected on live share, it should be sharing the server. It's not yet. Oh no. Let me make sure that the server is shared so that you can get to it. So I'm going to be using this one. So we're going to need to share port 50737. Right. So I'm going to go up here and change this manage shared servers, add, and I'm going to give you that port number. Say OK. And I'm going to start this without debugging, and it should start the server, make it available to everybody. Build completed. There it is, starting up. And now I'm on the page. If I log in, well, I'm not going to be able to log in. I just created the database. So let me key in the same password again here, if I remember it correctly. I think that was my password. No such table. Oh no. Hey, Lislav, good to see you. The Michael Jolly is here. Hello, hello. I thought. Everybody's saying hi to Michael Jolly. I don't see. Oh, there he is. Need the ICQ uh-oh sound effect. That's not a bad one either. Why is it saying that the table's not there? I could have sworn we created it. DB browser. Let's open that up and take a look at this. So I'm going to open the database. cdev, resource management, source, this one, db. It's not there. Why is it not there? We told it to update it with that. I don't know why it has. It should be there. Let me close the database. Let me reapply. Right, .NET EF database update. Right, application DB context. And it should create those tables for us. Right, because the migrations for application DB context. Oh, wait a sec. There aren't any migrations for it here. Look at this. Oh, you can't see it. It's behind my noggin.
Listen.
Yes. The context doesn't have the identity. Yeah. All right, so we need to stop. Oh no. I've got too many things going on. I closed the database. Let me leave that running. Yeah, the migrations aren't there. Thought I hit enter first. CD application DB. Yeah, there's nothing there under application DB for the migrations. So where'd they go? Know what I mean? So I think I need to regenerate the application DB migrations. That one. No project was found. What? Try that again. Application DB context needs to inherit from the identity DB context rather than just DB context. So there's identity data context. There's application DB context, right? There we go. There they all are. Over here, this application DB context is inheriting from identity DB context. I just had, right when I removed, it wiped out all of my migrations and never applied anything. Right? So now if I do the .NET database update for application DB context, I should end up now with my data build. I commented out a second identity DB context that was hanging out there that wasn't actually doing anything. It didn't look like. So let's get rid of that one. Update this. There we go. Now, look, it's created all my tables. I'll go back over here to the database browser, reopen it. There's my ASP.NET tables. So let's try this one more time for those of you that are connected. Here we go. And register. And we're in. Now we've got a user. Now we can go and check out availability. So none of my availability from my previous demos are here. So I can schedule an appointment here. Let's call this, I need to go get an oil change for my car. And see, I've got to actually, even though I set these to date types, right? The browser doesn't know what to do with these. So let's make it from 15 to, from 3 to 4 p.m. Add that, there it is, see it just appeared there. It didn't update this appearance. Let me also create a recurring appointment for over the weekend. Now let me create a recurring appointment. Let's call it, I keep referring to bowling night. So let's create bowling night. And bowling night started here, let's say. Now that's annoying that it keeps replacing that. 07, let's have it start at the beginning of the month. 3/2019. Really? That's a browser thing that it's not. Look, and it wiped out the rest of my date there. Right? 07, 03, and it just deleted it. And if I try and select the date, it wipes it out entirely. That's annoying. That's really annoying. We're gonna have to open an issue and address that. That's not gonna work long term here. I do have Firefox open. Let's see what that looks like in Firefox. Yep, I better log in. Because I have a feeling, right, that's a browser thing that we're running into. Oh no. Okay. So there's something clobbering that on the change of it. Alright. I'm going to need to take that as an issue. Here. Bug. Data entry for recurring appointments. Clears text boxes. Clears date text boxes. Identified on Chrome, Credge, and Firefox. That's got to be a server-side thing. So that's a bug. If someone wants to take a look at it, go for it. And I'm going to assign this to that minimum viable project. Schedule availability. So we make sure we get that thing fixed. Let's see here. Yeah, it's magic. Don't ship it at all. But it's definitely the data entry for the it should say date text boxes. There we go. Nah, it's not SQLite. It's not even getting to database yet. Ain't working short term, you're right. Reading, as in Reading, Pennsylvania? Who mentioned Reading? Did I mention Reading? I didn't think I mentioned Reading. Reading, UK. Right. Alright. So we do have an issue there with the availability that this needs to be addressed. That's fine. We'll come back to that. Manager schedule view. So in here, I still have this weird problem where the navigation isn't working. We're going to need to address that as well. But I'm able to navigate around, and I'm back where this is working like it previously was. So we're almost there. Also, the Reading Railroad in Monopoly. Yes, Reading, right? The folks around here, and I believe in the UK also, it's pronounced Reading, not reading. Yeah. So that's a thing. All right, let's get to what we came here for. Let's get this converted so that this works using client-side Blazor as opposed to reading Rainbow. Yes, different. Yep, reading Rainbow is different because you're referring to the act of reading. The town, Reading. Yeah. So the application is working in its current state. We've got it updated, and I want to actually commit where we are at this point because we have it working, and I also want to tell it to ignore the .db files. That should have been something I did a while ago. So let me open the git ignore file. Git ignore. And let's go down to the end here. No. I'm going to get rid of the DB file. There we go. Add everything else. I got to go up a folder or two here. Completed conversion to preview 7. And now using SQLite. And we'll update it to use some other provider before we get into the production space. So, the English language likes to confuse people, yes, and I'm sorry. And Americans don't treat it too well either. Zeno says, mind blown. What's up, Zeno? How's it going? Dealing with date time is the worst. It's only worse when you have to deal with the concept of fuzzy date time. Criminal case management, for example. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, the Simeon. The Simeon says, have a crack at Worcester. Now, in Massachusetts, that town is pronounced Worcester. There's a town around here where I live where it's pronounced Worcester. Haha! Worcestershire sauce. Yep. Worcester, that's how they say it in Massachusetts. Worcester, I've heard folks say it, but Worcester is how we say it around here. Hey, CanLab, good to see you. Welcome. Hey, ZS90. Thanks so much for the kind words. Good to see you out there in Portugal. Welcome to all our friends that are over in Europe, and I know I've had a couple folks mention they're from Peru. They're from South America. That's fantastic. It's great seeing folks from all over joining us here. So that works. This project is committed, and it's using right now server-side Blazor. Let's build a client-side Blazor application. Take a look at the difference between the two, so we can figure out exactly where we can pull things out and turn it into client-side Blazor, so it compiles as WebAssembly and runs in the browser. So, Norway, Pookie Pew says, you came here from InstaFluff. Well, thanks for joining us, Pookie Pew. Welcome. Texas and New York City get to fight over Houston. Houston? What's the matter with Houston? Oh, I tell you. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a test project right here. I don't care what it's called, but I'm going to .NET new a project so that we can take a look at what the difference is between the two and figure this out, because I don't think anybody has documentation or a sample that shows here's how to convert from server side to client side or the other way around. Okay, let's break some new ground here. Let's boldly go and learn what we need to here. No, I want to boldly go where no one has gone before. I want to, come on, give me a good voice clip here.
What's that?
We're going to figure something new out is what we're going to do. And
Now we know.
hopefully,
And knowing is half the battle.
and knowing will be half the battle for folks after us. Make it so. That's a good one. Let's do that.
Make it so.
All right. So I'm going to create a Blazor client-side application, this one. Just to put it down and compare the two CS proj files and then the app files. I did and then the index files and then the references to the the JavaScript. Oh, you forgot a D, Hugo. And there it is. And then the Razor files,
And then.
the C# files. Yeah, we'll put that together. So let's do this. .NET new Blazor. And I'm just going to call this test client side. Not -T, it's a -O. Is to specify the output folder location. -O output folder location. So it created that too quickly. Okay, restore succeeded. So the project is here. I need to add it into the solution. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so add existing project. That's not right. That's not where I am. And I put it purposely up above our source so I can just grab it and delete the folder when we're done here. So here we go. There's test client side right above my noggin up there, right? That's your favorite template of them. Oh, okay. The Blazor hosted is the one that gives you 3 projects with hosts, the client, and Kestrel. Yes. All right, so let's take a look here. This is the client-side version of it. This is the server-side version that I'm currently using here. Let's put these next to each other so we can kind of look back and forth. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay, So this is the client-side project. It's .NET Standard 2.0. We're .NET Core App 3. Because what it's done is, and I think this is where Smab's pointing out here, is it's written one project that has the client-side stuff in it, and it would normally be added in and included here. So there's our first problem, right? This is strictly the Blazor app. I need to add the... Well, I could add the move stuff over here and, make it... Yeah, okay. I could do that, right? Holy crumbs. Close everything over here. Try this again. So my client-side project looks like that. My server-side project has all the ASP.NET goo included in it. So this is just the Blazor components. So maybe I need to create another project that is just the Blazor components, and we put just those client-side components in there. We move... Where'd it go? Solution Explorer. We move everything that's in the components folder over there. And we leave all of our layout stuff here. Yep, there's the music that we're playing. Thank you. So, Sean likes that idea. Okay. So, I'm going to create a project then called Fritz Resource Management.client. We'll start moving some of the projects into that location. All right. And we'll look at setting up the reference appropriately so that we pass things back and forth. So let me go down into source. And I currently have just those projects. So let's .NET New Blazor. And this will be in Fritz Resource Management. Let me call this... Do I call it web? Yeah, let me call it web client. Because at some point, I'm going to end up creating a mobile client. And I'm going to get my Xamarin on this. Oh, yes I am. Alright, so now I have a web client project. And I think I made a fundamental misunderstanding here between the two. So let me go over here, web client, include that project. There it is. Okay. So it has pages, it has the shared, and this actually needs to be loaded up and referenced from outside, right? So, let me remove the reference here to test client side. And let me do .NET New one more time. Right, because the one that I believe Smab was referencing was Blazor ASP.NET Core hosted. I think that's what I want to do. .NET New, Blazor hosted, and test hosted. Let me see what that looks like. Okay, so it's outputting. Good. Let me add that into the solution now. Let's see what that template looks like. Add existing project. Go up one. I can delete test client side. I can just flat out get rid of that. Goodbye. Yeah, there's the 3 projects, right? Right, so the shared. I want to add all 3 of these. Because this is what I want to mimic. You know? Yeah. Okay. So now I've got these 3. So test web client is the one that I'm going to fill out that matches this. PT Carrasco, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us, and look forward to seeing you in the chat room. So I'm going to move my components and my layout for the application. Not all of my layout, but most of it, I think, over here. Hey!
I'm not myself just resubscribed for 7 months. Ain't no party like a C# party, cause a C# party don't stop.
Thanks so much for those kind words, and I appreciate the sub. We'll make a donation to Coder Dojo this quarter. Thanks so much. Okay, so the shared, right? Yeah, has the shared classes, and we're already doing this thing, so I don't think I need to emulate that. I'm already doing that by putting my shared classes out in the domain. But the server is where the controllers, the startup, and program. I don't see anything Blazor specific in here I need to worry about. So I'm okay with this, I think. Where I need to be concerned is it adds response compression in here. Use Blazor debugging. And there's map fallback, and it references the client startup with index HTML. So index HTML is here. And there's actually nothing in the server that's other, I mean, right, that's a API controller. You can't see that, I'm sorry. Right, that's an API controller. There's nothing in here that's specific to layout. It's all being done, all the client side. Yeah, Stelzy. It's all out there. And thanks for the shout out, Ancient Coder. I appreciate you taking care of that. Hey, Lapada21, welcome. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to break out as much as possible and move all of my user interface concerns that I have inside of dub root here into my new web client project, so that my web project, see, now I've got the identity in there. We're going to need to juggle that, and that's going to be interesting, how we juggle the identity. Right, because my user identity and that information, I'm going to end up with a circular reference because my user object is here. And my repositories for working with the the repository objects are sitting inside of the web project. We're going to need to move these out into a shared project location. So we got a little bit of refactoring we're going to end up doing here to move things around. I can fall back to layout on the server if necessary. I can do that, yes. I don't want to do that. I'd prefer to put it inside the client. This is going to be fun. This is going to take a little bit of work, but I think we can do it. Because we're going to break some stuff. We're going to break it good. So let's start. I'm going to leave the test-hosted server here. The test-hosted client is the same as my web client. So I'm going to remove this. I don't need this anymore. No, don't save that. All right. I don't need... I mean, I could start just flat out moving dub root into web client. I mean, I could just lift and just start jamming everything in there. Lapada asks, I have a question. Is Blazor good for SEO? That's a really good question, Lapada. Blazor, I think, is in a state right now that's very similar to where JavaScript was with SEO and single-page applications were several years ago, where the search engines were not evaluating the code, the JavaScript code, your Angular code, your Vue code. Now they do. The Blazor isn't very good for SEO at all. Blazor, you're building an application. You're not building a website. So you need to be more conscientious of these are application things that you're doing. So you can, because Blazor allows you to run either client-side or server-side, you can have things fail over that run server-side and handle requests that don't support WebAssembly that Blazor depends on. That's a good question. That's a very good question. And it's something that, yeah, we'll need to handle on our own. I could just, well, let's do this. Let's start getting rid of these things here that we don't need. Right? Main layout, nav menu, survey. I don't need survey prompt. I'll get rid of that one. And I'm trying to keep this above my noggin here a little bit so you can see it. And yeah, that's totally a thing, me saying noggin instead of head, right? In truth, how many apps can be fully indexed anyway? Authorization usually comes into play. There's a good point also. This application, beyond the front page where the login is to get in, there is no indexing that I'm going to be doing. But Blazor and Blazor client side for an application that's going to be indexed for SEO does feel like you're using too much technology, right? For something that should be indexed. I would put in a lot of front-end HTML, and only when you need the rich application that's running in the browser would I jump over and start using client-side interactions. Good point, Jeremy Knight. Hey there, is the line 37 in the server startup? This is inside of test hosted server. I got to get that over into my version up here. I'm still clearing things out here, right? But I will need this, right? This is part of what I'm going to need to convert back and forth. And maybe we can start adding that reference from web to web client. So let's start with that. Add reference, because this is going to break really good here, right? There's web client. I'm going to add that reference. There it is. You can see it. So now web references web client, and I can do, let's do the startup comparisons here. Make sure that works properly. No, leave that there. It was in here. This is my startup from my, so that's the web client startup. That's not the one that I want to show. So that's test hosted server. That startup. That's the one for my web project the way that it currently is. Let's put you over there. All right. So inside of configure services, where we configure all the dependency things that happen here, add MVC and add. So add MVC isn't here, but add Razor Pages is. I'm okay with that. MVC it's using because of the controllers that are there. I think I have a controller. I don't have any controllers here. I think I want to add MVC also. New CSS. Thank you for the follow. Let's add MVC here as well. I've got too many dots. Right. I thought there was a. Let me get rid of that. Let's do this. Right. I thought there was like add. Yeah. We'll do this. Mata Kugiro? Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. So I've got that. Newtonsoft JSON is already added down here. Do I have to add it here as well? We'll see. Services, add response compression, and that's right so that we get our DLLs compressed being output. I think that's a really good idea. So let's add that in there. Right, application octet stream. That's the binaries that that we're going to be serving out. While I'm here, let me add in those cheers. We had a cheer yesterday for 400. 400? I have it written down. 400 from Carrie. Let me put that in here. And yesterday was the 24th? Yeah. Like that. Let me add today's cheer 100 from Fairy Wings. Thanks so much. Because this is where we're working. This is kind of... And that's in the wrong place. That should be over here. Much better. All right. This is going to end up needing to move, but I'm not going to get wrapped up in that yet. Down here in the configures where we need to put that reference into the Blazor stuff. So we need to add the response compression up top. Use response compression. So it compresses up the DLLs that we're serving. Did they change the JSON engine? Yes. It's actually, believe it or not, so the JSON engine that's being used is being written by James Newton King. And uses spans extensively in order to make management of memory as it develops and interacts with the JSON file, make it as fast as possible, and it's actually getting faster. Services add scoped, isn't that claims principle not needed? Right, Pudata Paman, you're absolutely right. This is going to go away. For the server-side Blazor, the way that I was passing application state around, that's going to end up going away. You're right. I'm not going to start ripping that out just yet. Let me get some of these other things in here. When we convert to that security model, to the client-side security model, we'll move that and we'll adapt appropriately. Good points there. Lucky number 7 is here. Oh my goodness. Welcome. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Lucky number 7 is another member of the Live Coders team. The Live Coders team is 61 folks that write code just like me here, live on Twitch. Click the Live Coders link just below, or there you go. Hugo fired the Live Coders command, and you can check out everybody on the team and all the great stuff they're doing. How's it going there, Lucky number 7? Good to see you. So there's my is development, use exception page. Yeah, I should turn on Blazor debugging here also. That'd be handy. Use static files. We need to use client-side Blazor files. Oh yeah, we're gonna need to add that. So let's do this. Let's head over here and control dot. You know what? It's neither one of those. This is being referenced out of iApplication Builder. So we're missing a reference. There's something... Right, there's a using statement or something we don't have. Right, or a package that test-hosted server has that we don't. And I know this is hiding behind my head right now. Test-hosted server. There we go. So there's that CS proj, and I can automatically see it here. Let's go back up to this one. All right, so check this out. This adds Microsoft ASP.NET Core Blazor server. This one does not have that. So I need that package reference over here. Let it do the install. And hopefully this will go away. Busy as always. Local meetup tonight. Someone's doing a gRPC talk. Nice. Nice. Ancient Coder asks, are we switching to Blazor client side? You betcha. Oh yeah. Look at that. It cleared that up right away just by including that reference. Now this one, client.startup, doesn't know what client is. Well, I named the project web client, so I'm going to call this web client.startup. Yes, that one worked. Good. All right, so we have routing, cookie policy. We might be able to get rid of that. I don't know. These two, we probably will be removing. Use endpoints. Map default controller route. We're going to want that. Razor pages, I think we're going to end up being able to get rid of if everything's living inside of Blazor. So this is set to go. I don't need to map Blazor hub because we're going to be pulling it out of client side. We're going to move everything out of there. So I do want the map default control. You know, just copy these over. Come on, Jeff, just copy them over. And this should be web client startup. Okay. I feel like that is accurate for what we need. And I'm ready to move into the next one. Imports Razor, you're right. We might have some new references, but that's for the components once we get to editing those Razor files. I'm not there yet. Let me close that. Reopen Solution Explorer. So I think the next thing we need to do is thinking and looking at what's here. On the client side, we're going to need access to the data things that we're exposing and we're searching across. Right, so our repositories here, but our repositories, the client side isn't necessarily going to be able to access. It's not going to be able to make a direct connection into that SQLite database, right? Because the SQLite database is hidden and protected on our web server. Same thing if it was another database. If it was SQL Server, if it was Postgres, it's hidden behind the firewall and only the web server can access it. So those repositories are going to need to turn into API controllers. And we're going to need to turn out a client that knows how to query those API controllers that our Blazor client-side application can use. Well, that seems to be easy, only adding a couple of lines to an ASP.NET Core web app, and it does client-side Blazor. That's what it looks like. I think so, Stelzy. But I think it's going to break colossally if I try and run it right now, you know? Because we still need to, right, it's going to route to index.html here, which, right, the index.html inside of my web client isn't the index.html that I have in my application. It's going to go and do something else. Let's see what it does. I'm curious. Let's break this. Let's break this wide open. Get crazy and see exactly what happens here, right? I mean, if you're going to break it right, you know? Yeah. You know, blow it up. See what happens here. And our friends that are connected on stand back, kids. I agree, SQL Mr. Magoo. There's the live share link if you want to join in and get a connection here. Break it real good. Absolutely. And if need be, then we'll go back and fix it. So it's doing the compiling. Here comes the application. Here we go. Right, we're trying something that I don't think there's a lot of documentation around on the net yet. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I've got... This is the index.html that's inside the application. I'm still looking at what's being served from disk, and I'm wondering if that's because this use static files is here. Right? There's a couple of these. Which one is it? Is it that one? No, it's this one. No, that's the web client one. I want the test server one. Right, so if I look at this, yeah, it is using static files, Blazor client-side files, but it doesn't have an index.html in here. If I go back over to this startup, map Razor pages, well, this one has an index.html because it has a dub root. Actually, it doesn't have an index.html. What? Index.html is here, index.cs.html, because I'm using Razor pages. Ah, the plot thickens. Okay. So this we're going to need to turn into a Razor component and put over in the other along with our layout. Crash it hard, says Angry Little Hamster. Oh yeah. So I think we need to back up. Start moving some of these files over. And I'm not going to get wrapped up in the security yet, because security and pushing it back and forth to the server is different. It changes. You don't have the same interaction. And we learned that in our workshop over the weekend. I do have a hard stop at noon today again. Let me take a quick look just to make sure my schedule. See, I'm trying to be responsible here with my schedule. I'm usually terrible about this. Terrible. Or maybe I don't. Stop the press. I may be able to keep going here. Let's see what happens. I think we can keep going then. Fantastic. Let's get crazy and really break this. So I'm okay with the repositories living over here, but my user we're going to need to move. The schedule state we're going to need to move. And this is going to break some of the folks that have been trying to integrate with the application, and because I'm going to move some of this stuff around. That's okay, I think. Sequel Mr. Magoo says, oh yeah, all right, let me see what I can do here. So the main layout that's over here is using, this, and we're gonna change that. I want to get, okay, things that I need that are on the pages, I think that schedule state is the only thing that, well, my user is also here. And that's an identity user. If I move that into another project, it's going to get a little crazy, and I'm going to need to reference identity in that other project. And I'm not sure I want to do that. I'd feel more comfortable creating a surrogate user object that I pass down to the client, I think. Let's do that instead. Let's leave this here. The repository and the schedule state I'm okay with here. We're going to end up creating a client to interact with those. Let's take what's here inside of our that's the client. Inside of our pages, let's start taking some of these things and moving them into Blazor components inside the web client project. Rocket Propelled Freeman, good to see you. Hello, welcome. And we'll have to create an HTTP client to do the navigation back and forth, referencing things appropriately. So right now I've got the navigation menu over here and the main layout. Let's look at the main layout. And that comes off of, that gets referenced by the index HTML here. So let's start clearing out this index CSHTML and the layout that's inside this one. The only thing that's in here, actually no, I didn't configure anything in this layout, did I? I didn't. I added a site JavaScript. What's in our site JavaScript? Yes, I said it. Here, this. I have nothing. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to just delete that. Yes, I said JavaScript. Get rid of that. We did enhance the CSS a little bit. We have a site CSS here. Right? It wasn't even that one. It's the schedule CSS that I changed. So I'm going to ignore that one. Let me bring schedule CSS down. Put that in the client. Fantastic. So, right, I can at least start by including the schedule CSS. Which, right, I mean, am I right that that feels weird that I have to include my schedule CSS? Even though I might not be showing it on the page. It'd be great if I could conditionally include my styling for my schedule pages when I actually get to the schedule pages. There's got to be a way to do that. So I don't have any JavaScript to reference. My libraries, I don't think... Well, I don't have any libraries referenced here. Can I just reference and bring that over? Dynamic styles over in the Blazor getter. Ah, look at that. I am thinking. SQL Mr. Magoo, thank you for keeping us updated on that. Okay, so I don't care about AppRaiser. My index is kind of lame at this point. My main layout, I don't want the about to go to blazor.net. We'll figure that out later. That's going to end up going somewhere else, right? And maybe I end up with a static HTML page that has, not static. Put a component together that has just static content in it about what the page is about, what the application is about. But for now, that's fine. And it's a sidebar instead of across the top. I mean, I guess I'd rather not have it as a sidebar. I'd rather have it across the top. Right, and that's using Bootstrap. So what's the Bootstrap to make it a bar across the top instead, right? If I look at my layout, right, so there's div container at the bottom, and it's just a header. So maybe I do it that way. Right, so my main layout, instead of having div class sidebar, because I'd rather have it with a header up at the top with the navigation menu, and down the side, and gosh, I'm gonna have to do all this so that you can do the toggle back and forth. Right, so you can open and close the thing, you know, the hamburger menu, right? So I'm not too opposed to that. Let's bring that over. It'd be good to just put that in the nav menu. Where's nav menu? There it is. You know what? Let's leave that. Even though I've put it inside of a header. Well, these are top row. Look, these are rows that it's referencing. So thinking. It's a div class container inside of the nav. So we're gonna have to change it a little bit. Hugo asks, from a dev perspective and practice, what would be the best approach to development with client and server-side Blazor? Focus on server first or both simultaneously? I don't know. That's a great question. And I think there's something to be said for being able to move things back and forth. What I'm running into here is there's a change in how the layout behaves between the two applications. I don't want my layout to be, my menu to be on the left side of the application. I want it across the top. So I think I'm going to take this layout and put the nav menus here along with the login partial across the top. Is it Yenzine? Hi, good to see you. Yeah, the Blazing Pizza demo did it where you were able to focus on both at the same time, and by moving the components out into a shared library. I think that's a really good practice, because at some point we're going to want to decide, does this component get rendered server-side or client-side? depending on how folks access it. SQL Mr. Magoo uses a project template where all the application logic components are in shared projects. There we go. So I hit that one. And then I have client-side on server-side projects that call into... You have both client-side and server-side projects that call into the shared project. Yes. So I think... Yeah. I think I want to put this, right, the client-side project here, right, and these components could be used and shared back and forth between them. Right? I could put a shared components out here. Exactly. Let's focus on making it as shared as possible. But I need to change the layout. So I'm gonna take the nav from here directly into this nav menu razor. Even though this has the collapse here, right? Oops. Inside the layout CSHTML, this is doing this with right, so that's a button, and when that button is, it's got a data target, ARIA controls. Isn't there some JavaScript that fires there that takes care of that? I thought there was. Yenzine is in high school going to college. What degree do you think I should go for? Computer science? You're looking into learning about data science. Ooh. Computer science is going to be the way to go for data science. Programming and data science are going to change a lot over the next 5 to 6 years. As these topics advance and grow and organizations start building components, libraries to wrap and make it a little bit easier for folks that aren't data scientists to be able to access and work with that. So I would target computer science. Learn as much about data science as you can, but have that mindset of things are changing and growing. So... All right, so so the data toggler here, where it's doing this, right? This right here is the hamburger button, and it's deciding what to show and hide, right? We're going to want to use that same logic in the nav menu that's right here. So maybe I skip that part, right? Let's put these two side by side, so we can figure out what to bring over and what not to. Right. So the nav, excuse me. The nav was in main layout. Oh no, it wasn't. I'm sorry. Header is fine. It's inside nav menu. Oh, this doesn't use a nav class. Look at that. Okay. The industry changes way too fast for any college to keep curriculum up to date. Yes. The fundamentals never change. Learn those fundamentals. Thank you for the follow, Yenzine. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Let me know. You're 17. Well, we've been around the block a little bit. Some of us are a little bit older than 17. I'm just saying. You can see my profile just below in the About Me block just below me here on Twitch. But go after a computer science degree. You can focus on data structures. You can learn and make sure that you get that education, get access to that education. It's going to help you. And those concepts, whether you're using .NET programming languages, you're using JavaScript, you're using Python, will definitely put you in the right direction, and you should be able to adapt your learnings for whatever programming language, whatever environment you go into when you get there. Ancient Coder has a link there for the Navbars. The Good Idea I guess that's the Good Idea Company. A good programming language is like a conceptual universe for thinking about programming, and that's from Alan Perlis. Yeah. That's not bad. Things are going well. What academic learning is a bit behind since everything has to be thoroughly vetted, says Copperbeardy, and it's going to evolve quickly. Things evolve very, very quickly in this industry. The academics cannot keep up effectively, so you're going to need to spend some time at some point learning, reading blogs, reading documentation, watching videos where folks are teaching about new things. Yenzine, we use C# here. We use the .NET languages. Java and .NET are the two languages that you get commercial support for. And .NET's a whole suite of languages, but you will get commercial support for and be able to build for any platform. Java, of course, is managed by Oracle. The .NET languages are managed by Microsoft. There are other frameworks and things, but enterprises, large organizations, when they want commercial support, they're going to drift to one of those two frameworks. So with .NET, C#, VB, F#, there's a new language coming along called Q# that's still in its infancy, but it's growing. There's language designers at Microsoft that are working on that and growing it. Copperbeardy asks, can I throw my Git page link up for those links to help with learning? Absolutely, Copperbeardy. Go for it. Q# is very early in the process. What about Rust? Who supports Rust? It is for quantum stuff. Yep. It's a quantum programming language, and which means, right, very early in the development of that. Very, very early. A good primer can prevent rust. Nice. Love what you're doing there. Mozilla's doing a lot of support for Rust. Fantastic. That's great to hear. You can get a support contract from them for that? I mean, that's the big question. That's the big concern that I hear from enterprises is they want to have a support contract they can go back to and be able to blame people. So, quantum programming is a little crazy. Absolutely. I cannot disagree with that one. So, if I'm going to convert this, I'm going to end up with the nav links, which are these items here. I feel like I just want to, I can't just grab the toggler here. I'm going to keep the Navbar brand. I'm okay with the ASP areas on that. I can get rid of, right? And I can turn that into just an href equals double quotes. It's a different div up at the top because I'm turning this horizontal. So I think these two, this I think is good to bring over, right? Why don't you like that? Yeah, I know there's no, I haven't finished that yet, you turkey. All right, so this first div container, I've got that. Now the Navbar Toggler is this bit right here. Let's bring that up. Okay. Hey, Karnak, get rid of that stuff. Thank you. So this is resolved. Next was the div with the on-click toggle nav menu. Well, I've already got that right there. Oh, this is the div around the column there, which is this part here. So I think you would recommend, wow, a couple comments here. Where would you recommend for someone to learn? Udemy is it Udemy or Udacity? I get these two confused. Udemy, I would absolutely not recommend. Udemy pirates content from folks. What you see on Udemy, and they've admitted it and they've done nothing to clean it up, is they pirate content from other providers and host it there. I would recommend Udacity. I would not recommend Udemy because they, like I said, they do host pirated content. And you're paying for pirated content. Go to the source and actually be able to talk to the folks that have written that content. Because the folks that they're referencing and they've changed the names of, and they edit people's slides. They edit the video to change people's names in the slides. Don't use it. Let's see here. You're welcome, Yenzine. So I'm trying to take it from vertical to horizontal. Yes. Book bundles. Udemy is the one with the copied stuff. Yes. Do not use it. I would use Udacity. I would use Audacity is the name of the sound application. So this should, right? I should be able to get this. It's not a flex column that we're going to be putting in here. It's going to be going across here. Flex grow is what we're going to end up with. So I'm actually going to. I don't have the login partial, and that's not even going to be a thing here. So I think. Where was I? So we have, right, class container. So I think, no, I actually double checked. I'm all right about going over today. Dev.to is growing quickly. I'm curious to see how it grows. Because I'm going to copy and use that same div here, and I need another closing div. There we go. This one is the one that these things are appearing in, so I'm going to have at some point, right, I'm going to need to have the login here. And I can just use these, right? I should be able to just do that. And instead, I'll have nav links for these. So, I don't have a home or a privacy yet. I mean, I guess I can put nav link home, right? Right, the first one is nav link, class nav link, right? And have that go home and get rid of this one. And this is going to be something else, and I don't know yet. Just because I haven't built it yet. Maybe that's where we'll have it jump off to logging your own, what's it called? Your own availability management. So as a header, I think that's correct now. I think. We'll see when we start it, won't we? It's unfortunate I can't learn yet. Why don't you have a PC or a laptop? There's plenty of places to go to your local library, and there's places you can go online and you can learn, and you can learn in the browser, saving your place. Free Code Camp has facilities for that as well. Coursera has a bunch of CS courses. Yeah. Don't get a Mac, Yenzine. Do not get a Mac. If you're getting your first computer as a developer, do not get a Mac. It is gatekeeping those people who are telling you to get a Mac. Absolutely, I cannot recommend enough. You don't need a Mac to be a web developer, to be any kind of developer other than an iPhone developer. If somebody tells you you need a Mac in order to be a elite developer, they're lying. The only thing you need a Mac for is to compile for iPhone. And even then, there's places out on the web that you can submit your compilation to. If you get a Windows-based machine, You can put Linux down. You can run it from that if you'd like. You can run all the Windows development tools. The problem with a Mac is it's gatekeeping. You're going to spend $2,000 American before you even get out the door. And it is hard then to upgrade, to manage. Apple does a lot of gatekeeping on their hardware. It's a fantastic machine. But for somebody who's just trying to get into the industry, you've got a lot of other things you got to pay for first. The XPS is a very good system. Absolutely. You're gonna spend half the amount that somebody that buys a MacBook is gonna spend. You don't need an elite machine with 32 gigs of RAM and a half terabyte drive and a Retina display. You don't need all that. And in fact, you can get a lot of those features for significantly cheaper if you go to somebody in the a Windows-based machine. So, yeah. If you're a web developer and somebody tells you the operating system matters, they don't know what they're talking about. And the folks have seen me here. We've built using both Windows, all three, Windows, Mac, and Linux here on stream. So, there are many phone apps you can use to learn to code. Download from the Google Play Store. Yeah, absolutely. There's a good one. Excuse me. Need a Mac? No, but if you want to test every browser, OS X is good because you can put Windows and Linux into virtual machines. Yes, but really? I mean, the percentage of folks that use a Mac versus the other machines and phones in the rest of the world, you don't need it. It's such a low percentage. Forget it. Getting certain things to work on Windows is really painful. Like what? Redis? Redis you can run in a container. What else? Development in a Docker image is kind of weird too. No, it's not. I'm developing in a Docker image right now. You could start up and run Redis in a Docker image and point to it and say, there's my Docker machine. There's my Redis machine, like I'm doing here with Postgres, and it works great. Installing MySQL drivers or anything that relies on compiling C code. I've never had a problem with MySQL. It's tremendous to run MySQL here. So, Python, I will say, was crazy. And that's only because I had 4 different versions of Python running around. Now that I only have one version, it runs pretty good. So, for Docker, you need Windows Professional. Okay. So, all right. Let's remove, nope, wrong one. Let's remove index from over here, and I should be able to remove privacy as well. And I'm going to, yeah, let's remove error. We're going to start moving some of these other ones out. It should now start using the index that's in my client project. Let's see how that works. It's the guy with the voice, says the DK bet. Yes, I meant to do reading last night and I fell asleep a little bit earlier than I wanted to. I just couldn't stay up all night and do the book reading last night, but we'll get there. You have to be careful about the version of Windows in order to run Docker. Yeah, you need to be on the professional version. That's okay. For what a lot of folks are doing, you want to be on the professional version. Sorry, there's nothing at this address. What happened there? Chat sentiment is really chat sentiment was really high and it dropped like a rock. What happened here? Blazor WebAssembly, WASM. So we are getting Blazor WebAssembly. Good. Okay. There's nothing at this address. Why am I not getting my index page coming through, my index component? Let's go over here. So it looks like it's going into this, right? Because the app, right? Not found content. Sorry, there's nothing at this address. So we're almost there. Oh, we need an awesome command. That's a great idea. Yes, everything.
Everything is awesome.
Drive that chat sentiment up. Absolutely. So, you miss chat being on the video. I like being able to cast you to the TV and still see what's going on. It was taking up space, and I was also running into. I started running into an issue where people were saying things in chat that I don't want to share, that I want to hide, that trolling is starting to happen. So, it made more and more sense to remove it. It's not something that, yeah. But where I am trying to get to is having a live website up. And to be fair, you can open up Twitch and have Twitch running on your full screen with the chat down the side. And for folks that are watching live, that works great. If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to be capturing all of chat so that you can see what's happening as well. And I'm building a user interface that'll show you chat next to the replay. So, all right. Yeah, I use an IRC client right over here for reading chat as well. So, so it's not loading this page. It should be, well, it is, okay, it is loading this page. It's loading the app, but it's not actually hitting my index, right? If I look at pages, oh, I removed the index. Duh, I removed index razor. So let's add, not a razor page, we're going to add a new item. We're going to add the razor component, our first razor component. This will be index. I spelled it wrong. I can't believe I spelled it wrong. How did I spell it? Why did I do that? Right? Let's pin that up there. And let's put index HTML. So this is the client. There's, right? Let me rename this. That's better. Just leave it the way it is and get this running. And at this point, I'll know that I've got the client app running on top of the server app, and I can start moving more of those components into the project. Yes, IRC is a lot lighter than loading up Twitch just for chat. What I've done also is I've run the Twitch app on my phone or on a tablet while I have the video on the big screen so that I can see both. Still no index. Oh, I didn't put the page indicator on this. Pardon me. Forgive me there, chat room. You need to actually tell the razor component where it's listening here. We did that on the workshop last week, and I completely forgot to put it on there. My bad. Yeah, chat on the phone while watching on TV. Exactly, Ancient Coder. Exactly. Was quite interested in Coder Dojo. Do you know where to get more info? Click the Coder Dojo link and it should jump through. That's close. I've got, okay, so I have the bar going across. That's correct. This layout is not quite right. Right? But that's close. Does this collapse? Well, that... Okay, the collapse doesn't show properly. Clicking that. So I've got a little bit of work to fix the layout. Let's do this. You know what? Let me wrap up now. And I'm gonna go through and fix the layout. It feels like there's a little bit of oh, wait a sec. Am I using that? No, that's in the wrong project. Let's see what I can do to clean up some of these offline. And I want to set up a raid for onto someone else because I'm expecting to get a phone call here to go pick up the daughters. It's all kinds of stuff going on today. It's a little bit crazy. Around the Fritz house here. Sometimes it's nice to watch people who are better than me also have weird issues. I don't think it's a weird issue we're running into, but I think we've got it compiling and working, and it's showing the first of our pages. We're going to start loading up the content. I'm going to start migrating those pages over there. I'm going to do that offline so that tomorrow when we come back, we're a little bit further along and we can start talking about finishing off some of the other concerns that are here. Tell them to ride the horses home, says Michael Jolly. That's not a bad idea. Just hey, start riding the horses home. So let me wrap up what I have here. And let's get the project ready for our friends who want to jump in and continue working here. So I'm going to commit my changes, migrating to client-side Blazor. And I really need to merge up this feature branch. I need to get out of this and just start working in one branch. I feel like since it's just me here and I'm not bouncing around, I should really have just one branch so that it just works. So I'm going to fix that layout off stream, copy over my components, and I'll share that information with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern when we get back together. But I want to set up a raid here over to, I kind of owe him a solid here. I'm going to set up a raid over to our friend Code Rushed. This is Mark Miller. He's working on some components, some features for scaling graphics, for building it's actually a Dungeons and Dragons management interface. It's really cool, and he built me a little fanfare over there that is really cool to see. Thanks so much for the raid calls. This is our raid call in the chat room. If you're a subscriber, grab that first line of text. If you're not a subscriber, that's okay. Grab the second line of text, copy it onto your clipboard, get ready to greet Mark when we finish the raid and we get over there to his channel. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. I will be back same time tomorrow. Carrie Payette, thank you so much for that kind cheer. And, we'll see you tomorrow, same time. And we'll have a lot more done and ready to go here with the resource management project. All right? Let me just make sure. Yep, I was right. I had to wait a little bit. That's really not going to look. There it goes. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you over there on Mark's channel. Take care.